Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to my Joy Online/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
JoyNews desk is also live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. I am Benjamin Akakbo. Let's get into our first story now. And some roads in Accra and Kumasi have been rendered unmotorable after close to 6 hours of rain in parts of the country. Motorists have been held up in gridlocks, forcing many to convert dual lanes into single lanes just to meander their way through pools of flood water which have taken over greater parts of the road. My colleague Judith Awachitando was on the Tesano-Alajo stretch and reports drivers and passengers were stranded.
This is not the usual scene here on the Tesano-Abeka Road, but it is whenever it rains. So for now, cars have been stuck here for hours due to the flooding on the roads. And so they have been agitating for a while. We'll be speaking to some of them who are still stuck here. You can see that this road is a 3-lane road, but today cars are being forced to use just 1 lane because water has gathered right here on the streets. We also have some policemen around who are trying to direct the motorists. So we'll be speaking to some of them. Hello, sir. Please, you have been stuck in traffic for a lot of hours now. How does it make you feel?
Yeah, because of the road. That's why the river is so...
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll be speaking to more drivers. They are trying to meander through the water to get some space to be able to go into a free space. Hello, sir. Can you tell us, how long have you been in traffic?
I've been in traffic for about an hour now.
Wow. And how does that make you feel?
I feel so bad about it. I feel so terrible about it. See, I have a program at 7:30. Now it's almost 8:15. Wow. It means I'm late already. See, this is very bad. They have to do something about it. Indeed, they have to fix the country. It's very important.
Thank you very much. So you heard him right. He's asking for government to fix the country because this is something that has been happening every time it rains. Hello, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
How long have you been in traffic?
More than 2 hours.
Wow. And how does that make you feel as a driver?
It's very unfortunate. Our engineers in this country have disappointed us. Me, myself, I'm an engineer by profession, but this thing we shouldn't be going through this. It's not good at all.
Okay, thank you very much. We are walking through water. We are literally walking through water right now, and it's a very uncomfortable situation for a lot of drivers here. They are actually asking government to fix the country. They are asking government to do something about this situation because it happens every time it rains. It happens every time it rains, and it's been a long time since this started, but nothing seems to be done about it. I have someone else here. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
How long have you been stuck in traffic?
2 hours.
2 hours?
Yes, please.
And how does that make you feel?
You said?
How does that make you feel?
Yeah, well, just because of the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of flooding here. And then because of that, we can't go, we have a lot of work to do, and then because of that, because of speed and then the traffic and then...
Okay, so he's been told to move. The water is filling up more and more. It's filling up the road more and more. And yes, he feels very uncomfortable and very disappointed as a result. So you can see the police ahead directing them. You can see the police ahead trying to direct them. Okay, so we have some more cars around. Some of them seem angry because they are being delayed Yeah.
I'm moving up on the phone. I'm going to 4x4.
So he says that our politicians are driving in 4x4 cars and he is using a taxi. And they are still not fixing our roads. And so that makes him very much agitated and very angry. He wants something to be done about the situation. So we'll speak to some more drivers ahead. We are going deeper and deeper into the traffic. So there's a taxi driver here. Hello, sir. Pacho, how many? Okay. Okay, so how many hours? How many hours have you been in traffic? Okay, they have to move. So he's complaining as well that it's been too long since this started on this road and nothing has still been done about it. So he's calling on government to fix the road. We'll be speaking to some more drivers, and it's clear that they are agitated. It's clear that they are not happy about this situation at all. Okay. Hello, sir. Can we speak to you? He's definitely angry and doesn't want to speak about it. Driver, you better me no sir. Oh, what do you bibi kakama? Okay. Hello, sir. How long have you been in traffic, sir?
Oh, just some few minutes ago.
And how does that make you feel? I mean, it's been long since this road has been this way.
It speaks volume to us as leaders and as a nation to think outside the box and to find another means by which we can mitigate this. Yeah.
Okay.
But all boils down to money. We must pay the right taxes. We must not evade taxes. Managers of our funds must manage it prudently so that we can get some disposable income to be able to do some of these things.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so it is clear that drivers are agitated here and want something to be done about this situation. It's been too long since this road has been this way, and they definitely want the roads to be fixed. Some are calling on government, some are calling on the youth. But whoever is being called, the bottom line is that the roads must be fixed. Reporting for JoyNews, my name is Judith Awache Tando.
Let's now take you to Kumasi, where my colleague Ohiming Teria, who is currently stationed at the South Junction, reports that the Kwamo Ejisu section of Main Accra Kumasi stretch is flooded. He joins us live with more. Ohiming, how exactly are the motorists coping with the flood that is in their path?
Yes, it's been a difficult moment for motorists who ply these particular routes in Kumasi. I must say earlier, when we went to the main Kumasi-Accra road, especially the Ejisu Kwamo section of the road, the floods actually blocked the entire highway, making it impossible for motorists who want to use that section of the road. Motorists were compelled to convert the double carriage lane into a single lane. So what it means is that those who were traveling from Accra to Kumasi direction had to join and share the same lane with those who were traveling from Kumasi to the Accra direction. So that was the situation. But a few minutes ago, when we left the scene, then we realized that the water has subsided, meaning that now motorists will have the opportunity to use the other lane. Currently, where we are is at the Kumasi South Junction. This is also one of the areas that was affected heavily by the downpour this morning. This section of the road was blocked to traffic. What it means is that the motorists who were traveling from Santase and to Bekwai roundabout and were forced to park their vehicles until the rain subsided. So what we are seeing now is just an evidence of what the effect of the rain has been. You see this heavy pothole here is being created by the heavy currents of the rain. Once this area gets flooded, then it has forcibly removed the top of the road constructed some years ago. Now we are told that a few weeks ago, the officials brought these stones that you see here just to fill this area after the rainwaters has eaten away the top of the water here. So the indication is that it has gotten to the attention of the officials, but as to what and when exactly they'll be fixing this particular problem, it cannot be, cannot be told. We are learning that there's a heavy storm drain here, and anytime it rains, then the storm drain here overflows 8 banks, and it forces the rainwaters to fill this particular stretch of the road. So what you are seeing is the destruction caused by the rain water here. So let me speak to this gentleman. He's a driver who has been plying this particular route. What's your name?
Richard Amponsa.
Okay, Richard Amponsa. There be alpha coin so is your tour say na hasiti.
A honey de be a haya na menam. And so try intimate for her. Chese, so one pay baby and fire and so never for Ocano. Any pair fire could be what? Just say it be one more deno. Almost foul na or more the more extra quanim. The honey and so try and yasam ketwakra.
I didn't see that in Sua, a defy, bet me a faka, a mudrono, and I know the end say.
I know what then papa passing soon a talk now with Jina as rock a can out 2 and ya. Just say, as what cheer the bano. So we any pacrano and pay baby and you a bit me a foul. And if it for no more for you and so try. Omunya problems, I won't call for car watches and yasam ketwakra and your honey dear. And soon if I had a dozen to a sum of penwa seminar or more boy.
Okay, this is a driver who plies his trade here. He tells me anytime it rains, the problem created by the rains is that motorists cannot use this particular stretch. You have to park your vehicle at the other ends and then wait until the rain subsides before you'll be able to use this road. And then beyond this, motorists are also forced to wait for a longer period before they can use this stretch. And human beings who want to cross the road from this particular point to another end will have to be carried on shoulder high before they are able to do the same. And what you are seeing here is just some fitting shops around here. All these fitting shops are also submerged anytime it rains. And it's a
Say we name Quafrobia, maybe our cofaso. And yes, I just old chain could you be from Bear Wana, maybe a Waba. A bureaucrat said, talk a search a party and just open Quafrona or Faso.
So he's talking about the use of alternative routes. If you have alternative routes in mind and you are affected by the rains here, the floods here, then you have to change route. Now, yen say, be sabria and penin for who's already abwa begu. I didn't think a basic sabri or muntimi any huge mamma.
Abono mudi begusundi na hani nyina hurunti. Enso no ta abono na asa atwene nyina akọ enya aboa etintim ho. Omo de peten so like egusu for temporary se bia minnim ade minnim tie enso no so atwe abo nyina akọ ache se uduru ha de a enya asem ketwa kra.
Okay, so he's telling me these chippings that we see here were brought in by the officials, but as to who actually brought it, he can't tell, as a stopgap measure to help the road users here. After one of the heavy downpours has, forced the road to lose its cover here. So the chippings, as you see here, is always, being taken away by the flood waters here. So it's not been an easy situation here. Standing here and watching how drivers are complaining and suffering as they use this particular stretch, especially the sort of manhole created on this particular stretch can be seen and can be felt as I go on with this report. And to me, I'm say,
sɛ bia santase ne kotwifo no mo fa ha no sɛ nsuo ne tɔkɛse obi anim sɛ nsuo na yiri nti ya na ofa so omla omma ha nti ana ama nipa bebre gyina ha.
Okay, so the situation is also affecting the commuters on this particular stretch. There are commuters who are a bit stranded here because the drivers are aware that anytime it rains, this particular area gets flooded. And once it gets flooded, they wouldn't want to, go through this situation and then their vehicles being affected in that regard. So they prefer not to use this particular route at all. And this is why the commuters are here. They are not getting any vehicle because few vehicles are using this particular stretch and it's not been easy at all. Papa, Mr. Otiha, ensure eto a hat say.
Oh, anya kra, na sisi ahwede ayeno, etutu kra. Ti ha de o se mo money ba ho.
Ensure to amutimi efa.
Ye timi fa ha de too much. Say ensure city bridge ne also eno no so bowe no mo ye. Omo bridge ni ye because omo nkete do to holes no. Enya papa.
Okay. So this man lives around here. He tells me the only solution to this problem is for authorities to expand the storm drain here so that it can accommodate more water to pass under it. And he tells me anytime it rains, it means this is a no-go area for people who live around South Junction and beyond this point. So if you are traveling from Bekwa roundabout to say Santasi roundabout, you will get stuck in the middle of this route unless you use an alternative route before you can go and get to your destination. And so that has been the situation in Kumasi. You can see this vehicle here is stuck because the sort of hole created on this stretch is very, very heavy. It's very deep. And as you can see, it's affecting the movement of vehicles on this particular stretch.
Well, Ohiming Teria, thank you for bringing us the latest as far as that development is concerned. Ohiming Teria was reporting live from Kumasi. Let's talk COVID-19 related matters now. And despite the rising number of positive cases of COVID-19 in the OT region, there are no funds for surveillance and contact tracing. This development, according to the Regional Health Director, Dr. Osei Kufuor-Afre, is making the fight against the pandemic difficult. Dr. Afre was speaking after the 2021 half-year health delivery performance review. Peter Senu has more in this report.
The OT Regional Health Directorate has held its half-year performance review to assess its performance over the past 6 months at Nsuta in the Jasikan district on the theme engaging stakeholders to ensure continuity of service in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic. Various district heads presented their performances and challenges for resolution. The non-availability of adequate doctors to handle the rising number of patients still led the chart as in previous reviews, the topmost challenge against quality health delivery in the region. Accommodation challenges for even those health workers who have accepted posting to the region is also high on the radar. Other logistical challenges such as regional storage facility, regional cold room for medications, and vehicles for monitoring and supervision are also still paramount. The region has recorded increased numbers of COVID-19 positive cases in recent times, with some in education institutions. Dr. Osei Kufuor-Afre is the Regional Health Director. He provides some updates.
The OT region is currently in its third wave, just as the national picture depicts with COVID. So far, cumulatively as a region, we have recorded 771 confirmed cases of COVID-19, of which about 25% of the cases are health workers, which is a source of worry, because the health workers are supposed to lead the fight against COVID. So if they themselves are getting infected, then it's quite worrisome. The region has recorded 8 deaths so far since the pandemic started in our region in March 2020. Initially, we've been able to vaccinate about 4,500 people with the Astrazeneca first dose of the vaccines. And we are happy to have received some quantities also for the second dose. And we've also received some 500 doses of Johnson & Johnson. to be used for immunization of people who are not immunized.
The unavailability of funds for contact tracing and surveillance, Dr. Afre tells JoyNews, is making the fight against the virus difficult.
Obviously, we need funds to carry out a lot of activities, especially contact tracing, case management, carrying out a lot of public education, providing other support services to curtail the COVID pandemic. The funds are not adequate, and we are working around the clock to make sure that at least we get some funds for that. You know, recently we even got some school outbreaks, and it was very difficult for us to do contact tracing for them.
He also bemoaned the non-adherence to the COVID-19 protocols as another challenge, derailing efforts at combating the virus in the region. The regional minister, Joshua Makubu, urged the health workers to adhere to the very protocols they have instituted for the public, considering the rising number of cases among the health workers in the region.
Yeah, the vaccines are there, but I think there's a simple way of going around it, simply by obeying the protocols that you people have put together for us. So I expect that in your institutions, we will see strict adherence to this, especially at the time we are made aware that some health workers are affected as well.
Meanwhile, the region has taken delivery of only 500 J&J vaccines for first-timers in the region, while those taking their second dose for the Astrazeneca are doing so. My name is Peter Sanu for JoyNews.
Let's go over the phone lines now and interact with the Regional Health Director, Dr. Osei Kufuor-Afre, on this alarming development. Doc, how serious really is the situation you have at hand?
Thank you very much, and I would like to say a very good morning to all your viewers and also listeners. The situation is quite under control, except we keep daily recording new cases of COVID cases, just because people are not adhering to the protocol. So currently, we have cumulatively 771 cases in the OT region. Our active cases as of now is 40 cases, with 24 of them being health workers.
Right.
So that is the current situation in the region.
You've spoken about non-adherence to COVID-19 protocols. What is being done about that to ensure that people are, doing the right thing?
Thank you. We actually met at the Regional Coordinating Council as the Public Health Epidemic Management Committee members. We have looked at the data back to back and taken some drastic decisions where information has been sent all over, especially to the general populace in OT region, to adhere strictly to the public protocols. And the Honorable Regional Minister and the security agencies have also put in place some measures to deal with offenders of non-adherence to the COVID protocol. The protocols we are mentioning here is we want to encourage everybody to wear their mask when they step out in the open, also to ensure that public gatherings, as the President directed, should not be occurring. So if people are having funerals and they are overcrowded and all those things, we don't like it. And also we want to make sure that if people are operating places of where people have to come and gather, at least they have the hand-washing facilities and other things like that. So the security agencies are supporting us to ensure that the preventive measures in making sure COVID is fought against are being adhered to.
Doc, it's the second day of your review. Are there other revelations we ought to know about?
This review meeting is not only looking at COVID. We are looking at the general issues of health in the region. So we are looking at some issues with especially adolescent pregnancy, because we've realized that our information we have, our adolescent pregnancy rate is going high at an alarming rate. Also, what we've detected is that most of our pregnant women, about almost 25 to 28% of our pregnant women are ending their pregnancy with SMEA, which is also becoming a huge problem. Another huge challenge we have also identified is the non-availability of accommodation and also the staff mix for service delivery. So we are still at it, and so far, these are the issues that have come up.
How has the Astrazeneca vaccination gone so far?
We started a vaccination exercise yesterday. We received some 3,072 doses of Astrazeneca. And you know, for OT region, we are still following the national deployment plan. So the instruction that we got, having received the first dose, the first consignment for the first dose was to be given to health workers.
Okay.
So the second dose has come. We received it yesterday. So the exercise started yesterday. And we are making sure that all the beneficiaries for the first dose of AstraZeneca are also getting the second dose.
Finally, Doc, you spoke initially when you were interacting with my colleague about financing or funding. What has been done to aid, the drive as far as funding is concerned, so that you can roll out the sort of activities you need in the OT region?
Funding remains a challenge, even though we have received some funds from the national level, but it's not adequate to meet the increasing demand for service delivery. Because day in, day out, anytime you get a particular case, you need to follow up on contacts of that case. And it becomes a very huge challenge when you have to follow people up. And we don't have adequate funding for that purpose. So we are only pleading that more funds to be sent so that at least we'll be able to provide a comprehensive care, especially for people in their homes who are doing self-isolation, to follow up on them, and also to be able to do effective contact tracing for cases.
Dr. Kofu Afre, thank you very much for engaging us. Thank you for your time with us. He is Director of Health in the OT region. We take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Welcome back on Joy News Desk. Now, when COVID-19 struck, many African countries, including Ghana, began having conversations about the development of science in their countries. But prior to this, some scientists on the continent had tried without success to get their governments to commit to the development of research. The good news is this has not deterred a number of them who desire to conduct research in Africa for Africans. Yamachi Biotechnology, a Ghanaian-based startup, is of one of such research firms. Founded in 2020, Yamachi is focused on research into cancer across the continent. It's starting with Ghana. Its CEO is Dr. Yao Bediako of WACBIP, I should say. You may know him as one of our resource persons on COVID-19. Dr. Bediako, thanks for your time. Let's start our conversation with some good news. Your company has been selected to be a part of this year's Combinator Summer Batch. Out of 15,000 applications, only 377 were chosen. 15 of them are African, and yours is the only Ghanaian. I'd like you to tell us more about the Y Combinator Summer Batch and what the selection means for your startup.
Thank you, Benjamin, for having me. So I hope you can hear.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Y Combinator is Y Combinator is a very prestigious startup accelerator program based out of California in the US. They've been around for over 10 years. They've launched companies like Airbnb, Dropbox, Coinbase. In Africa, they've launched companies like Flutterwave and Paystack, which are multi-million, $100 million. In fact, Flutterwave is almost $1 billion valuation right now. So they've successfully launched a lot of companies that we will recognize. And over the last few years, they began to transition into more and more biotech business. So they began to support biotech companies. And the way the accelerator works is you apply. If you are selected, then YC, as they are called, makes an investment into your company, but also admits you to a 3-month sort of business boot camp where they train you, give training on how to run a business successfully, and also give you access to their vast network of founders of startups, but also investors who are looking to invest in startups. So it's a great opportunity for a young company, especially a company in Ghana or in Africa, where we may not have access to as many investors ordinarily, or at least do not have visibility to the investors. YC is a great launchpad for that.
Right. And we're glad your entity has made it. But what work have you done so far? What difference will accessing the investment make? It's been reported that you have concerns about the nature of accessing or assessing funds from governments for science research. What will it take to get African governments to commit to this important aspect of our lives?
Well, I mean, I think we have to begin to think of science in 2 areas. If you look at the US structure, you have public funding, which goes mostly into universities and public institutions for science. But then you have a $500 billion biotech industry, which is private. In Africa, majority of our science is in government-funded or public institutions. Now, that has to continue. And unfortunately, in many African countries currently, the funding for research mostly comes from external grants, from aid agencies like the Gates Foundation and others. We need our governments to certainly invest in our public research institutions, but we also need private enterprise, private business to get into the research game. So Yamachi is not really looking for government funding. Yamachi is basically a private entity that is looking to do research at international standards, but privately funded. Similar to many of the companies, even the big pharma companies that we all know, those are largely private companies. So what I hope is that Yamachi is maybe one of hopefully a generation of private companies that are set up to complement the efforts of public institutions that would be government funded. Certainly, government can make it easier for private companies to establish themselves. We import a lot of the things we need from overseas. So it would be great if government can provide, tax relief or certain incentives for people to set up businesses like Yamachi. But, certainly being admitted to YC is probably the best stamp of approval that any young startup can get anywhere in the world. And we are hopeful that this will attract a whole slew of international investors to see what we are trying to do and hopefully come alongside and support the work we are doing, because it's very expensive work. You need significant capital to do it. And so you need access to the world's top investors.
Tell us more about your team at Yamachi.
Well, Yamachi is an all-African team. We're not quite all Ghanaian, but we are probably 80% Ghanaian. We are a team of scientists, of business people, of software engineers, looking, as you said in the beginning, to try to do something about cancer. Cancer is a growing problem. A lot of focus obviously has gone to COVID over the last few years, but cancer kills 700,000 people in Africa every year. There are over 1 million new cases. And by 2030, we are expecting 2 million new cases and over 1 million deaths. In Ghana alone, we get about over 20,000 new cases of cancer every year. And we get about 15 to 16,000 deaths attributed to cancer every year, just in Ghana. So cancer is a very big problem. And unfortunately, there's very little work or research being done in cancer among African people. All the research that is done in cancer is largely in Caucasian populations. And this means that the latest technologies, the latest tools, the latest treatments for cancer do not work very well in Black people. So Yamachi is trying to do something about that. We're looking to lead the way, hopefully, in developing data, in developing new diagnostics and new therapeutics that will work well in African people or people of African descent, no matter whether they live in Africa or they live elsewhere.
Well, Dr. Bediako, we can only wish you the very best in your exploits, and congratulations on making it on the YC summer batch. Thank you for joining us for the conversation. That is Dr. Yao Bediako joining us there for the conversation. Now, the Finance Ministry will be, there's more to come in business that is up next. Do stay.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Finance Ministry has been very focused on ensuring an independent operation of the newly created National Development Bank without any political interference. This is the reason why the establishment of the National Development Bank is not going through parliamentary scrutiny and approval, but rather through the Registry General's Department. Now, according to Director of Financial Services Division at the Finance Ministry, Samson Akligo, the ministry has developed strong regulatory environment to ensure that the bank survives without government's intervention. He was speaking at a development dialogue organized by the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research.
The national dialogue by the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research was focused on the establishment of national development banks in the country and the best practices to learn from. Under the theme, National Development Banks and Sustainable Financing in Ghana, the program also gave a platform to stakeholders to deliberate on the importance of the yet-to-be-established development bank. Director of the Financial Sector Division at the Ministry of Finance, Samson Akligo, explains that the move to avoid direct parliamentary involvement is to ensure full independence of the bank. He also assured the ministry is taking guidelines from the international best practices.
For the first time, we did not go to Parliament to really pass an act to set up the development bank. The whole idea is that we don't want direct political appointments, and we don't want a situation where we also have civil servants and public servants on the board. So what we sought to do is that we established it under the Registrar General as a company, and then because we want it to be regulated, we passed a new act to develop that ecosystem and have it regulated. And I can confirm that so far what we have done is that we went through an independent process devoid of central government to appoint the board, and then the board is even more open to non-Ghanaians. And then at the same time, the CEO and the management selection process have been very competitive. And I think that is very important as one of the key lessons.
Director of ISE, Professor Peter Quarty, challenged the ministry to put in all the necessary measures to avoid collapse of the bank after a few years of its establishment.
To also strengthen the regulation environment to avoid financial sector cleanups. You saw in 2002, Bank for Housing and Construction and the Cooperative Bank went down. 2017, we've seen banks go down. Are we going to see a repeat in 2024? 2034? It looks like, I don't know, I want to break that cycle that every 17 or 18 years there will be a bank collapse. I think we ought to break away from some of these challenges so that we create enough confidence in the system. Because when banks go down, it affects livelihood, it affects people's health, employment, and so on and so forth. We want to avoid that. I want to end here.
Other speakers on the panel charged government to use the bank to support specific sectors of the economy, like agriculture, to spur growth.
Now, the impasse between traders and management at the KGTR market over payment of utilities has resulted in an accumulated debt of 3.6 million cedis. Management of the facility say traders have defaulted in paying bills for 4 months in protest against exorbitant charges. Managing Director Kofi Dufour says there are arrangements to address the concerns. Prince Apia has more in this report.
Traders at KGTR market pay 40,000 cedis for electricity monthly, with each shop paying averagely 100 to 200 cedis. To deal with the challenge, they want management of the Kumasi City market to get them separate meters. In the past 4 months, the traders have suspended payment of electricity bills and other service charges in protest against delays in installing the meters.
The stall I occupy is small, yet I am billed huge sums at the end of the month.
Too much. The angry traders have placed red flags in front of their shops in protest against the delayed process.
This red flag has come to stay. Until we get a favorable response from authorities, it is not coming down. I use several appliances at home, but pay less compared to this stall with only a fan and a light bulb.
All right, and that's it for business for now. There's more coming up after this break. Oreku is on standby with sports.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on Joy News Desk. There's a lot more news on myjoyonline.com. Some of the stories there this hour. And UCC ranked #1 globally for research influence. And there's also that survey on other matters. You can check out all those details on myjoyonline.com. I'm Benjamin Akakpo. Thank you for staying.